Steve Morgan for Fishing Monthly magazine's at the conclusion of the 2015 Rapala BARRA Tour, and I'm here with the team of the year. It's Team Humminbird, EJ Todd, and these guys absolutely smashed it. 3 events. You came first at Toowoomba in the 2-day event, then you backed it up with a fairly dismal second in the Toowoomba all-night event, but then you really brought it home here at Faust. You won the event, landed around 20 fish. Probably didn't write a few on the sheets because they weren't big enough. And only missed a perfect score by 1 point. Yeah. So I suppose a lot of people out there in the internet land, they've got their sights on winning a trophy like this. It doesn't come just because you're lucky, does it? It comes because you put a whole lot of work into it. You probably put more work into your barra fishing than any of the guys that I know. Can you take us through a few of the things that you do to help you prepare for this week of the year, this great week of the year, which is the Rapala BARRA Tour?
Yep. Rods and reels, we get all them smick, all our lines new right from word go. Leaders, checking leaders all the time, sharpening hooks.
Yep.
Like every time we're out there casting, do 5 casts, sharpen the hook, make sure when you get that bite you're going to stick. Pre-fishing, like come up, have a look around, see what the fish are doing. Bite times, tide changes, they're going to bite around the tide change, what the moon is doing, rise and set and all that.
Now let's break that into a lot of you guys up here use your tide books on the lake. That's pretty interesting for people that don't fish lakes much. It's like, well, what are you looking at the tides for? What do you believe it does?
Yeah, but we haven't got tide out there, so the water's not coming up and down, so we haven't got that back eddies and all that to work on. And the fish, they still go off. They know. They know when the tide change, so they'll start feeding around that tide change, high or low. You'll still get that feeding time.
Cool. Okay. Well, you can keep going now with your preparation. You do a lot of pre-fishing. Do you do the pre-fishing just before the event, or do you do it a month or two earlier?
We come up 2 weeks before the last full moon before the event, and we had a look around, and that'll give you a gauge of what they're eating and where they're schooling up and where they're feeding in the weed or out of the weed. But the main fishing we done was the week before the comp. It was a new moon. It's a lot hard to fish. You don't get many fish. It's hard to find the fish. But if you can find them on that new moon, they're going to be stacked up there on the full moon.
That's right. So what do you think they do in the new moon? Do they move deeper? Do they just not eat? What's the deal with the barra?
We look for 3 days. We don't know what they do.
They disappeared.
I think you go out in the trees, you'll see them out in them trees in that 40, 50 foot of water. And I think they just out there chilling out.
Yeah.
And when that moon, that 4 or 5 days before the moon, that's the best because they're coming out of there and start feeding. I think they're still got to eat, but they're just
they don't do it as rapidly as they do on the full.
Yep.
Karim, you're in the back. You're in the back of the boat there. I see when you're fishing on the water. You're in the back of the boat and you're catching lots and lots of the fish. Tell us what the experience is like to take your style of fishing, mix it with Craig's style of fishing. Do you get along like a house on fire, or is it hard work sometimes?
No, we get on pretty good. We haven't had an argument yet, so that's pretty good going.
No one has arguments with you, mate.
You think I would?
We're both pretty much saltwater fishermen, so I've only started the dams probably 5 years ago. I got into it a bit with the BARRA Tour and that sort of thing. So our forte is pretty much saltwater, and it applies pretty well to dam stuff, and probably gives us a bit more of an open mind than some of the guys that are locked into that freshwater stuff only. Yeah. Technique-wise, it applies across the board, and it's the only difference, I suppose, is not as much tide and all that water movement, but with the wind and that, you can get some good current flow. So it's the same concepts.
You betcha there was some water moving yesterday.
Yeah.
That's why we like it windy. If it's calm, it's hard to fish dams. Yeah. If you can get that wind flow, not as bad as yesterday, but you'll see all your current lines. You'll see the weed leaning over. Yep. There's that much flow in the water. Yep.
Yeah. And you see that around points as well. You see it moving around. Well, the good news is we've got the date set for the 2016 BARRA Tour. The better news is they're all before the full moon, and you tell me that they're the best dates we've set yet. Is this true? We're going to go to Kinship, we're going to go to Toowoomba, we're going to come to Faust, and we're going to hit the Faust. Last event, full moon night championships. Is that going to go off?
Oh, unbelievable.
And we want 6 metres.
Oh, not about 6 metres. But like the 2 evening events just before the full moon, and then all-nighter at the end. Yeah. That'd be unreal.
Best time.
Can't wait.
So it's going to go off.
Now, guys, you've got some sponsors you'd like to thank. This isn't cheap doing this stuff. Who would you like to thank, Karim?
EJ Todd's my pretty much my sole sponsor, and they've been with us for a couple of years, and their support's been awesome. So really appreciate that. So.
That's awesome.
Yep, EJ Todd for me too. Brian and that down there, unbelievable sponsors. You know, we can still use other stuff. We're not set in.
Yep.
They won't tell us, you know, use this, but we can use anything if we want. Shorty helps out heaps, and BLA Humminbird,
Yep.
they help me out a lot. So
That's right. You've got the most electronic boat on the whole tour with all the Humminbird, the Talon, 360. You've got everything on there.
And it all helps. That all that electronics, you know, you're watching that all the time.
Yep. Guys, congratulations. There's some great names on there. I think there's a couple of names who are familiar with down here, Griffo. You got this perpetual trophy for a year. You can bring it back on the 2016 Barra Tour and defend your title. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, can't wait
Can't
the
wait,
next
it'll be
year.
good.
Them times and that. Like I had it last time, so Crimbo can put it up in his shed this time.
It'll go to Cairns.
There you go. Okay, guys, well, keep an eye out on abt.org.au for those dates, and we'll see you at the 2016 Barra Tour.